amazed because I didn't accept Christ as my Lord and Savior until after college. I grew up in the church, but for some reason I just didn't get it. Like, it just, I was saying the songs, I was there, I just didn't get it. Like, Jesus is my Lord and Savior, Jesus died for my sins, I didn't get it, right? And so I just fell into the trap that most people fall into. I need love, okay, I'll get a boyfriend. I need to look good to feel good. Okay, I'll get that shampoo, I'll get that outfit, right? And I just went on this spiral of chasing after things that the world told me will meet my needs, will satisfy me, will make me feel and do the things that I'm supposed to do, will give me purpose, right? And I chased after it all. And finally I get to college, and I just kind of get sick of it. Because do you know what the weird thing is? I actually got everything I wanted. I got, the weight I wanted to be. I got the clothes I wanted to have. I got the boyfriend I wanted to have. I was dating for someone for 7 years, right? Everything I wanted and I went after, I got. But guess what? When I got there, it wasn't what I thought. There was still something missing. There was still something not enough. And as I went on this path, I got to a place where I was depressed, like clinically depressed. By the third, fourth year of college, I was contemplating suicide. I was in a place, and the weird thing about depression is there's no reason for it. Like, it's not like I came from a broken home. It's not like, tragedies happened in my life. Okay, everything was fine around me. I would be sitting, at home with this beautiful family, and I would still be unhappy, and I didn't know why. I'd be sitting in a party full of wonderful people, and we'd had fun tonight, but I was still not happy inside. There was something missing, and something that I longed for that I just couldn't find in the things of this world. And I kept going, and finally the Lord brought someone in my life. It was a friend of mine. She also grew up in the same church as me, and after college she went on this trip with this group called Youth with a Mission, and she comes back and she's like, I found Jesus Christ, He changed my life. And I'm like, okay, I heard that before, but she showed it with her life. The way she talked, the way she acted, the decisions she made was so different. She was a different person. And it sparked my attention, and I one day just came up to her and I just asked, what is this trip you went on? Like, what is this? And she told me about it. She wouldn't give me details. She just said, you need to go. You need to go find out for yourself. You need to get these questions answered for yourself. And so I was at a place in my life where I had nothing to lose, right? Because I wanted to die. There's nothing to lose, right? And so I said, okay, I'll just take this trip and see what it's about, see what all these crazy Christians are talking about. And I went. And before I went, I think I had a graduation party, drinking, partying, and I just went. I didn't know what this is about. And at that very first worship service, right, and I haven't been to church in however many years, right, and so it was all still new to me, but I'm at this worship service. And I just talked to these people when I first got there. And these people were like any ordinary people, right? They had problems, they had issues. But when they were worshiping God, they had this expression and deep joy that I had never seen before. And I looked at that, they were just worshiping. And I knew their problems, they were just sharing them with me. I knew how hard it was for them to even just pay for a plane ticket to get there. I knew how hard it was that they're dealing with, parents, problems with this and that. But yet, they were worshiping God and they had this joy and this assurance and this peace that things were going to be okay. And that's when I realized, that's what I want. That's what I've been looking for in all these other things, and that's what I want. And it was the first time I had ever, I think, really prayed, like honestly prayed. And I said, this is where I was in my faith. I said, God, if you're real, I didn't even know if He was real. I was like, atheism sounds pretty good, right? I didn't even know if He was real, but I said, I was so desperate in my life. I said, if you're real, let me see what they see, experience what they experience, and I'll give you anything for it. I'll give you my life for it. If you're real. And that was the first time my eyes were opened to who I really was. And it was not pretty. All of a sudden, it was like a movie, flashback of all these things that I did in my life that I shouldn't have done, and how at the heart of those things, I was living the lie that I was in control. I was living the lie that I could help myself, that I could fix myself and fix others. And that's when I first, and that's when I just wanted to run. I said, oh my gosh, God, you are great, you are real, but I am awful. Look at me, I'm a mess. And I just wanted to hop back on the plane and go back home. But it was then that God opened my eyes to why he sent Jesus Christ. That he didn't just die for other people's sins and the sins of, he died for my sins. That he died for my messed upness. And that he wanted to make it right again. That he wasn't just going to forgive them from the past, he was going to forgive them now and in the future, and he was going to help me make things right. He was going to make things right in my life. And at that moment, I gave my life to Christ. I said, take it. Because every time I touch it, it crumbles, it falls apart, it doesn't make sense. Take it, take my life, take my time, take my money. I don't have anything to do with it. Because I can't make it right, and it falls apart when I touch it. So Lord, come. And I was desperate for him. And little by little, as I sought after him, and it was the first time I actually read the Bible, like really read it. Not to understand, if this really happened or whatever, but to really understand, who is this God that everybody's talking about? What did he do in the past, and what does he want to do in the future, and what do I have to do with it? And as I went and searched and sought, little by little, he started healing me. Little by, and it wasn't pretty, right? And little by little, guess what? I was more desperate for him. Have you guys ever heard the saying, the more you know, the more you don't know? Right? When you learn, the more you start learning, you realize, oh my gosh, there's so much more to learn. There's so much I don't know. It's the same with God. The more I get to know this God, and the more I get to know what he has done in my life and can do in my life, the more I don't know of what else he can do. What else can he do in my life, in my children's lives? What else can he do in my family? What else can he do in my community? What else can he do in my friends' lives in this world? What else can this God do? And as you seek after him, as you're desperate for him, you'll find yourself, you don't even have to try, more and more and more desperate for him. From the smallest of things to the biggest of things, because you realize it all belongs to him anyway. He has it all figured out anyway. And you just start wanting more and more of God. And David was like that. King David was like that. As he sought after God, he sought after God more and more and more. And as he sought after God, really big, awesome, cool things happened in his life. And we're going to talk about that today. That's the second point. When you are desperate for God, when you first realize you need God, okay, you need him because you're imperfect. You need him because you're not in control. You need him because he made us. We belong to him. And only he can tell us about our purpose. Only he can fulfill his purpose in us. Right? As you realize, as you're desperate for him, you're going to start doing some crazy, foolish, stupid things. Okay? And we'll talk about that. King David, before he was a king, right, what was he most famous for? David and Goliath, right? I love that story. Have you guys read it? Not in a children's Bible, you're in a real Bible, right? We're grown-ups now, right? Read it for yourself in 1 Samuel chapter 17, okay? This is like the best story ever. Like, it's epic, okay? So David is he's not king yet. He's just a little boy, it says, at this time when this happens, okay? And the Philistines, so the King Saul and the Israelites are warring with all these nations that are trying to overpower them and overpower each other, right? And Israel was God's people, right? Israel were the people that God was going to use to show his love, his mercy, his power in this world through